Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're unpacking a truly wild 48-hour sprint. We are looking at the exact step-by-step methodology that content creator Jack Craig used to turn a totally blank screen into nearly 700,000 YouTube views using artificial intelligence. So if you've ever wondered how AI is fundamentally rewiring the landscape of viral content, well, you're in exactly the right place. We're going to break down the raw data, the underlying strategy, and the precise execution to show you exactly how it's done. Here is our roadmap for today. We're going to hit the viral AI blueprint, break down the 6-phase formula, apply it to create the street dog salon, crack the YouTube algorithm, and finally look at the future of AI content. Let's get right into it. All right, Section 1, the viral AI blueprint. We're kicking things off with a look at a channel called Brazen. So Brazen looks like your standard obsessively detailed food and cooking channel. But get this, it pulls in an estimated 16 grand a month. And here's the absolute kicker. The content is 100% generated by AI. Seriously, if you look really closely at their videos, you'll spot these completely impossible visual glitches. I'm talking about things like a human face literally blending right into a wooden chopping board for a split second. But you know what? Viewers are so hooked on the content, they just scroll right past the errors. To pull off something like this, Jack didn't just copy the videos, he reversed engineered the psychology behind them, and it really boils down to 3 main triggers. First step, the content has to be universally relatable. Think food or pets. It requires absolutely no niche knowledge. Second, you need an emotional hook driven by pure absurdity. And third, this is the real secret sauce, is completion compulsion. Once you declare some bizarre, near-impossible task, our human brains literally cannot scroll away. We just have to stick around to see how it ends. Moving on to Section 2, the 6-phase formula. This is how you actually structure that virality. Because let's be real, you can't just slap a bunch of random AI clips together and hope it goes viral. There is a very rigid, almost mathematical pacing to this. It all starts with the declare phase, saying something like, today we are pinching 99,099 broccoli florets. Then you assess the situation, isolate a single piece, process it with maybe a pinch of salt, rapidly build the project, and then boom, you hit them with the reveal. By mapping out exact scene durations, Jack uncovered a proven structural architecture that basically leaves nothing to chance. Which brings us to Section 3, Street Dog Salon. This is where we test this whole theory in a brand new AI niche. Now, to test this formula without instantly tripping YouTube's duplicate content filters, Jack needed something totally fresh. His big idea? An AI pet salon for dirty, scruffy street dogs. It perfectly hits the marks, it's super relatable, emotionally absurd, and absolutely begs for a final reveal. To actually build it, he used ChatGPT to script out that exact 6-phase formula. Then he used an AI video tool called Hikesfield for the visuals. And a huge pro tip here, by feeding reference images into Hikesfield, he managed to keep the exact same scruffy dog visually consistent across all the different clips. After that, he just stitched the whole shebang together in Premiere Pro. All right, Section 4, cracking the YouTube algorithm. Let's see what happens when this goes live. Before hitting publish, Jack did something absolutely crucial. He uploaded from a 7-day-old account that already had some watch history, just to prove to the algorithm he wasn't a bot. Then the algorithmic roller coaster started. At hour 20, the video was sitting at a modest 14,000 views before completely flatlining. But then, the algorithm woke up. By hour 27, views skyrocketed to 300,000, and by hour 48, we are talking nearly 700,000 views on a completely brand new channel. Just mind-blowing. So why did it explode like that? Well, it all comes down to this one specific metric right here. At that 20-hour mark, the average percentage viewed was sitting at a massive 88% on a 59-second video. That is a ridiculously strong signal. Thanks to that completion compulsion we talked about, people were staying glued to the screen all the way to the very end, basically forcing YouTube to push this video out to the masses. And finally, Section 5, the future of AI content, focusing on monetization and reality. With hundreds of thousands of views rolling in, you've got to ask, does this actually translate to real income? Because despite all the fear-mongering out there, YouTube clearly draws a hard line between 2 different kinds of AI content. On one hand, you have AI slop, that mass-produced, low-effort spam that gets demonetized instantly. But on the other end, you have Jock's approach, AI-enabled content. This involves hours of strict structuring, heavy manual editing, and genuine creative vision. YouTube actually rewards this. They see AI as a tool to execute a human vision that would otherwise just be too expensive or impossible to film. So now that you've seen the raw data, the psychological triggers, and the exact replicable formula, from scripting to keeping visual consistency to cracking the algorithm, the big question is, what are you going to do with it? AI is clearly not replacing the creator, it's just supercharging the tools we have at our fingertips. So are you going to keep watching from the sidelines, or are you ready to build the next